So my name is Chinonso Victoria, V for short. I am a virtual assistant, a digital support specialist. I help business owners and founders execute their operations and streamline their ideas seamlessly. So one of the most common debates among aspiring VAs and existing VAs is balancing certification versus experience. You often find them asking questions like, do I need to get certified to land a job, or do I need to pursue experience? Stuff like that. Do I need to get my hands dirty, or do I focus purely on certification? And that's why today we are going to be talking about certification versus experience. So let me start with a quick question. If you were to hire someone today, would you go for the person with the most certificates or the person who has more experience? I'd like to see your response in the chat, please. If you were to hire a virtual assistant today, would you go for the virtual assistant who has more certifications or the virtual assistant who has experience? Thank you. Deborah said experience, more experience. Yeah, personally, I'd go for the person who has more experience. I would prioritize the VA with more experience. Yes, more experience with a good portfolio. Exactly. So I'd like for us to start by defining these terms. But before we proceed, let me quickly share my screen. Now that we're on the same page, let's start by defining certification. What is certification? Certification is structured formal learning. It's a course, a program, a badge that says, I have been trained in this. Certification gives you knowledge, it gives you structure, it gives you confidence, it gives you a framework to work with. A certification fills this gap. It shows potential clients that you are a professional. It shows them that you are serious. It shows them that you have at least invested time in learning the foundations. Certification equals credibility. So in layman terms, we say certification is proof that you have invested time in learning a skill or a concept. Certification gives you credibility. While experience, on the other hand, this is where theory meets reality. Experience is what happens when you actually do the work. It's the task that you complete, it's the problem you solve, it's the clients that you serve, it's the mistakes that you make and the mistakes that you learn from. Experience is proof, not just to clients, but to yourself. Now, the thing about certification and experience is the both of them are not enemies. The two of them work best together, if you ask me. While we advise you to prioritize one over the other, it's also best that you pursue the both of them. Experience teaches you how to manage expectations. Experience teaches you soft skills that no classroom can fully teach you. They are not competing. In fact, they work best when they go hand in hand. And what we advise is a strategic combination of both certification and experience. While a certification buys you the initial round of credibility, it's your experience that keeps you in the room. Because a certification just says, oh, I've been trained, and an experience says, oh, I can actually do the job. And in this career path, in the world of virtual assistant, this service that we render, no client really has the time for certification. No client is going to browse your certification collection. Clients care about what you can actually do. Clients want to know, what can you do to make my life better? And this is why they must go together, because certification without experience is just like studying how to drive but never getting behind the wheel. Imagine you go learn how to drive and you don't practice. You know all of the theory, but that knowledge stays in your head. That skill doesn't develop. You don't know what to do. You don't apply those things you've learned in the real world. You're just going to be a bad driver. So you need both. You need to learn and you need to keep learning while you practice. So this brings me to my first point, what clients actually care about when it comes to certification and experience. Clients don't ask to see your certificates. They ask just one thing: can this person make my life easier? And I say this with confidence because I've been both the employer and the employee. When someone is looking to hire a virtual assistant today, they're not asking you, where did you get your certificate? They're asking, can you do this? Can you do that? Because it's one of two things. It's either they're ready to delegate tasks immediately, or they need you to come on board for a specific for a specific reason. So the first, how can you do this? How can you do that? How can you fill in this gap? And that's why we prioritize experience over certification in this field. So to shed more light on all that I have said, I'm going to share a bit of my personal story because I know one of the things that bothers aspiring VAs is not knowing where to start. A lot of people think they need to wait to get a job before they can start practicing. I get that question often, people asking, how do I gain experience when there is no job? How do I gain experience when there is nobody to hire? So I'll just share a bit of my personal story. When I first started out as a virtual assistant, I remember during my IC3 certification. That's like the most basic certification there is, where you learn Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, and the rest. I would practice every day. Every single day, I would practice. Any file I could get my hands on, I would practice with it. I reached out to a lot of people within my network. I would tell them what I was doing, what I had learned. And me reaching out to these people at the time wasn't even necessarily for them to hire me. It was just for them to know that I could render this service, know that, okay, yes, this is what I'm doing. I will post my works, post my projects, my classwork, and all of that. I remember at the time, I even created automated sales trackers for my business, for people around me. And that was how I started getting, visibility of some sort. That was how I started getting recommendations. And I remember one day someone reached out to me and was like, "Oh, I need someone to handle the bookkeeping part of my business." And that was it. Subsequently, I continued practicing, I continued putting myself out there, and I got recommendations here and there. And I can tell you today, two of my top clients came from recommendations simply because I was able to do the work while learning. Now, a lot of people hide behind certifications. A lot of people feel like they need to complete the process before they can start practicing. A lot of people feel like it's not enough to just learn. They must learn. They just keep learning and learning and learning. But I want to encourage you today to try, keep practicing, put yourself out there. Don't wait till you're perfect before you start building experience. While you're learning, practice your skills, sharpen your skills, do what you have to do, and put yourself out there. Okay, so don't wait for the perfect certificate. Tell people what you do. My challenge for you this week is to reach out to somebody within your network, sell one service. It doesn't necessarily have to be a paid job, even if it's a voluntary service. Just reach out to somebody, promote one service of yours, tell them what you can do. Offer a service. Don't run away from the free jobs. Those free jobs, that is what helps you build experience. Because remember, I said I got recommended, but it's two things. The recommendations came, but I was able to prove myself simply because I had spent time and I had done the work, I had practiced, and that was how I was able to prove myself. So I want you to practice your skills, start with small tasks. Just do what you have to do, because the VAs succeeding today, they're not necessarily the most certified virtual assistants. They're just the ones who took action and the ones who stuck with it. Thank you for having me.